The Yaffee Program on WVNN.
All right, I'm going to read this from Senator Katie Britt. I'll have more details in the Alabama bullet points as well. But obviously, the big news to start with today is the sudden death of U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina. Katie Britt said this. She posted on X. She said, Lindsey was a true and dear friend, a great leader, and a fierce advocate for the people of South Carolina. I am grateful to have had the opportunity to know him, learn from him, and serve alongside him. He not only graciously welcomed me to the Senate and gave me a seat at the table, but he also took time with my family in a meaningful and impactful way. Whether he was addressing an issue facing South Carolina or standing up for America's interests on the world stage, he had a vision and a purpose, and he used both to tackle challenges others thought impossible. He possessed a rare combination of brilliance, acumen, and wit that brought levity to some of our most difficult moments, always allowing for a brief reprieve before refocusing on what lay ahead. This is a tremendous loss for our nation. We're praying for his sister, family, friends, loved ones, and all who had the privilege of knowing him. His presence in the Senate cannot be replaced. He will be immensely missed. I have to say, it says a lot, the reaction to his death that we have seen from members of both parties. It really does show the impact he had on the U.S. Senate. So we'll talk about that. I'm going to talk a little bit about his legacy, which I think is mixed when it comes to his politics. I want to get your reaction as well on the Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. You are listening to the Yaffee Program. This is the show where you can count on the latest news, the important guests, and the best analysis, all for your morning commute here on News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. Also coming up on the show, I'll have the Alabama bullet points. At the bottom of the hour, I'll speak with Todd Stacy, who is with Alabama Daily News and Alabama Public Television's Capital Journal. I'll get his reaction to the death, the legacy, the impact of Senator Lindsey Graham, but also some Alabama politics as well. And then, of course, it's Monday, so we do that Sunday news shows recap. That's because I'll review what was talked about, the interviews, the highlights from those Sunday news talk shows. I do it on Monday, so you can take Sunday off. You don't have to worry about it. And obviously, a couple of the big topics. One, yes, the death of Lindsey Graham, who was on the Sunday talk shows a lot. And two, the war in Iran, which is continuing on. So we'll get to that. We have What's Trending later as well. That means Walker is here producing once again. Walker, how are you today?
I'm good. I let myself get Starbucks this morning. So
nice.
Is a good day.
Well, what'd you get?
I got the s'mores cold brew.
I saw that. That's a new thing. Is it good?
It's good. And then I got a breakfast burrito, which I did not know that they had. And that was very big and good.
Okay. Yeah, I do. I saw the s'mores cold brew and I was like, oh man, I might have to try that sometime. I think I've had their breakfast burrito once and it's good, but they really they make it very hot. But
oh yeah,
that way.
Yeah,
Put that thing
it was
in the
very
grill,
hot. Yeah,
and it's like touching a hot coal or something when it comes right out of the grill. Mm-hmm. But okay, I'm gonna put you in a good mood. I like that. Well, in the show with the Yaffee Program Rewind, and yes, as I mentioned, we always take your text messages on the Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. So I do want to give you some of the latest details on what we know about Lindsey Graham and what happened. It says, according to the Wall Street Journal, Lindsey Graham died of an aortic tear. Now, that's just according to preliminary findings. Now, firefighters responding at the senator's Capitol Hill address got no answer. Radio traffic later described a man in cardiac arrest. So, I mean, there's still more investigation that needs to happen. Autopsy, everything else. But that's kind of the preliminary finding here. Aortic tear. He had cardiovascular disease. I mean, he was 71, so that can happen. Now, Graham's office announced the findings on Sunday and said a death certificate will remain pending until all toxicological and microscopic testing is completed. Now, test results could take weeks, law enforcement officials said. An emergency responder sent to Graham's home Saturday night performed CPR on an individual suffering from cardiac arrest. That's according to dispatch audio reviewed by the Wall Street Journal. Shortly before 8:30 p.m. Saturday, D.C.'s fire and EMS responded to a report of chest pains at a home on South Capitol Street, a few blocks south of the U.S. Capitol. The public records list as one of Graham's addresses. So minutes later, officials radioed that a caller who reached 911, an unidentified woman who said she wasn't in the home and was driving from Baltimore to the address, had told dispatchers his front door was unlocked. But crews on scene reported the deadbolt was secured and said they were getting no answer. And at 8:35 p.m., after a dispatcher asked whether they wanted a ladder truck or the police, officials responded that they would force entry. So they were able to get in. They gave him CPR. But unfortunately, he had passed away. Now, another interesting point here is that he had just gotten back from Ukraine. Now, of course, the conspiracy theories are going to exist because Lindsey Graham was on one of the hit lists of Iran, the Iranian regime, and he's obviously no friend of Russia. So people are going to wonder if, let's put it, the conspiracy theories will continue to exist. It seems like there isn't really foul play here. Now, the Wall Street Journal said that he had just got, it says, a day before emergency responders arrived at Senator Lindsey Graham's Capitol Hill home on Saturday night, the South Carolina Republican made what would be his last public appearance, standing outside St. Michael's Golden Dome Monastery in Kyiv. So he was once again showing support for Ukraine. He met with Vladimir Zelensky. He was talking about new sanctions on Russia. And in fact, I grabbed some of the audio of that. So go ahead, Walker, if you can. Skip down to cut 5 of Lindsey Graham and play cut 5 for me.
I've never been more optimistic than I am today that we have the formula to end this war. Help Ukraine be more lethal. Let those supporting Russia to know it's going to be a price to be paid if you keep doing it. And to try to find an off-ramp, not to humiliate Putin, but to end this war so that Ukraine will thrive and survive.
So obviously his support for Ukraine will be a big part of his legacy. Probably the biggest part, if you're looking at the legacy of his career in politics, the biggest thing was he was definitely a hawk, a defense hawk. He was constantly wanting the United States to show its power and military strength against our adversaries on the world stage, always. And he was always very supportive of building up and making sure our military was the best ever. And that obviously created a lot of division, even today in the Republican Party, especially today, honestly, in the Republican Party, as people became wary of the wars in the Middle East. But earlier on in his career, he was more known as a moderate Republican and often worked with John McCain. And a lot of conservatives didn't like him. We talked about this during Dale's show, but one of the nicknames from Rush Limbaugh about Lindsey Graham was Grahamnesty, because he was a part of the Gang of Eight, and he was really big on immigration reform, which a lot of people saw as amnesty for illegal immigrants. They did not support him. So there were a lot of issues like that where a lot of strong conservatives really didn't like him. But there was definitely a turning point as well in his career, not just losing to Trump and then becoming more on Trump's side. But the Brett Kavanaugh hearing, I know a lot of people are probably playing these cuts today, but I wanted to play as many as I can get in here. Because you can just see, this is a guy who really does believe in bipartisanship. This was a guy who really does believe in trying to work with the other side to accomplish things. This was a guy who really does believe on working together. And then Brett Kavanaugh happened, and all of the attacks against him and his Supreme Court nomination happened, and all of a sudden you could see something change where he's like, look, I try so hard to work with the other side, and now I'm going to fight against them because they have just proven how corrupt they can be. And it really does show how we got to this point in our politics in a lot of ways. So go ahead and play Lindsey Graham cut 1 for me, Walker. This was what he had said during those hearings.
If you wanted an FBI investigation, you could have come to us. What you want to do is destroy this guy's life, hold this seat open, and hope you win in 2020. You've said that, not me. You've got nothing to apologize for. When you see Sotomayor and Kagan, tell them that Lindsey said hello, because I voted for them. I would never do to them what you've done to this guy. This is the most unethical sham since I've been in politics. And if you really wanted to know the truth, you sure as hell wouldn't have done what you've done to this guy.
So, and I think for once, it added credibility by the fact that very liberal justices that are now on the Supreme Court bench, he voted for them because he believed that they were still qualified, even though he disagreed with their kind of philosophy, judicial philosophy. Now, he got a lot of criticism for that at the time. But the silver lining there is it added credibility in this case where he said, look, I am not the guy who is just going to always defend my side. I am going to work with the other side on some things. And then he saw what they were doing to Brett Kavanaugh, and he's like, this is corrupt. And this was a real pivot point for Lindsey Graham, I think, in his career and his life, where you start to see him more about fighting really for what he believes in, a lot against the left, seeing the problems of the radical left taking over the Democrat Party. Go on and play cut 2 of Lindsey Graham.
Are you a gang rapist?
No.
I cannot imagine what you and your family have gone through. Boy, y'all want power. God, I hope you never get it. I hope the American people can see through this sham, that you knew about it and you held it. You had no intention of protecting Dr. Ford. None. She's as much of a victim as you are. God, I hate to say it because these have been my friends. But let me tell you, when it comes to this, you're looking for a fair process, you came to the wrong town at the wrong time, my friend.
So you can see as well, when he said, these are my friends, he's talking about the Democrats in the Senate who were there, part of the committee, saying he was friends with them. And you can just hear the frustration, and it's genuine. You know it's genuine. And this was, this was the pivot point. I'm going to play cut 3 of Lindsey Graham.
Do you consider this a job interview?
The advice and consent role is like a job interview.
Consider that you've been through a job interview?
I've been through a process of advice and consent under the Constitution.
Would you say you've been through hell?
I've been through hell and then some.
This is not a job interview.
Yeah.
This is hell.
This
is going to destroy the ability of good people to come forward because of this crap. Your high school yearbook. You have interacted with professional women all your life, not one accusation. You're supposed to be Bill Cosby when you're a junior and senior in high school. And all of a sudden you got over it. It's been my understanding that if you drug women and raped them for 2 years in high school, you probably don't stop. Here's my understanding. If you lived a good life, people would recognize it, like the American Bar Association has the gold standard. His integrity is absolutely unquestioned. He is the very circumspect in his personal conduct, harbors no biases or prejudices. He's entirely ethical, is a really decent person. He is warm, friendly, unassuming. He's the nicest person.
All right, so we're going to talk more about that. Definitely came up during the Sunday News talk shows. I know we're out of time here. I do want to get your reaction, though, on the Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. We'll be back in a moment on the Yaffee program.
The Yaffee program.
Scrolling with Haley. Join Haley Caronia as she scrolls through the biggest headlines.
If you haven't watched this show before, we do blind reactions. I have not seen these videos, so I am seeing them for the first time with all of you. We're going to implement the tinfoil hat time segments and all the stuff you know and love. And I'm going to finish the show and answer some of your questions. Someone asked me what made you get into podcasting, and I was producing podcasts for other people. And I was like, I could do this for myself, and here I am.
Scrolling with Haley. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Hey, I'm Chris Van Vliet. Go behind the scenes and beyond the headlines with the biggest names in pro wrestling and beyond.
Mr. Sandman, all I ever wanted to be was a pro wrestler. So I got to live my life and make people really happy.
The Heartbreak Kid himself, Shawn Michaels.
Do you think there's anybody better than you were?
I think I was great at what I did, and I think other people were great at what they did as well. Greatness is more a mindset, I think, than anything else.
Mindset, motivation, insight with Chris Van Vliet. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.